That's it, I need to control the what and why of any person's haircut, then I can do anything I want. That is what I want to have with my second wish. Ginny, give something that helps me control what haircut a person will get and why the person will get that haircut. Are you sure that's your second wish? Yes, I am sure. With that, a really bright light appeared in my room, and slowly the light died out. Your wish has been fulfilled. What? But how do I control any person's will to get a haircut? I will show you. Say enter. I complied with him. Enter. My whole room turned black. What is this place? What's happening? A black infinite plane appeared. There was nothing there except for a note and a chair. When you say enter and you have the thought to come to this place, you will automatically enter this room. Don't worry about what happens in the real world. When you are in this hyper world, the time in your world will stop. Cool, so right now no time is passing back there. So what about the haircut? How do I control it? It will have to do something with the chair, I assume. Exactly. When you come up to this chair and think of any being, their replica will appear in the chair with the exact hairstyle they are currently having, and you can edit the hairstyle here any way you want and it will become exactly the same in the real world, and the reason as to why the person got such a haircut can be written on that notebook. If you don't give a reason, the haircut will still happen, but the reason will be random. I can cut anyone's hair here. The jinn replied, anyone. Any being who is currently existing in your world, and you can think of them. Thinking exactly about that person is very necessary so as to not get confused with any other being. As long as you are definitely thinking of that person, you can even do your haircut since you can think of yourself. I stood in front of the chair and started to think of myself, and a replica doll with the exact same nape shaved bob appeared there in the chair. I immediately plunged my hands into the replica hair. It was exactly the same as mine. The same high and tight nape shaved the same length on every strand. Now I wanted to test this out before giving my previous life girlfriend a punishment. I wanted to figure out what it did to people. Any being, you say? I can give any being a haircut here, huh? I had a mischievous idea. I changed the thought of whose hair I wanted to cut from me to guess who my Ginny, who on my request had a female avatar now, and it worked. In front of me appeared a doll with a vague figure of my Ginny but exactly the same hair as her. I gave a look and said, no hard feelings, just wanted to try, hee hee. Well, I know your haircut fetish. Honestly, I could have only made you that note, and you would be able to control everyone's haircut, but I know you fetish and you will really want to give them the exact haircut by yourself. That's why I added this. Do whatever you wish. I am an avatar anyways, and you won't have fun cutting my hair because it's just an illusion of magic and can be changed even if you just ask me to do it. Well, all that speech from my jinn really turned off my will to cut her hair. But I still want to try it on someone whom I can watch the effects of this. Whom should I do it on? Mom, should I try it on her? She has a bob. We can take it a lot shorter and she also loves short hair. Yes, she will be the one getting a haircut, and I can also test how much control over a person's will I have with her easily. As I was thinking about this, I looked down on the chair behind which I was standing, and it had already gotten a replica doll of my mom with her layered bob hair. This thing really understands me. While moving my fingers through her bob, I thought, okay, so what haircut do I give her? For as long as I can remember, she had had a bob. She never did a high nape shave. She only shaved the stray hairs at the end of her neck. That's all she had ever shaved. Yes, Mom, you need a short haircut, I think. We need some big tools for your haircut. Jin, how can I cut her hair? There is no equipment here to do that. Just think of the equipment you want and you will have it. Right. Think about the equipment just like I thought about which person I am going to give a hair to. Equipment clippers, really good ones that leave behind no hair, just skin left, and there it came into my hand. I switched them on and off once and the sound was amazingly loud. Now some comb. I want a comb with really thin bristles, and there I had it. Okay, let's get rid of that bob. I started the clippers, combed the back of the bob and plunged the clippers from low on the neck to just below the crown. I stopped the clippers with the help of the comb. A thick lob of hair fell to the ground, but before it could touch the ground it disappeared. I was really disappointed to see that. Jin, why did it disappear? To which he replied that this doll is only for deciding the haircut. The actual haircut happens in the real world after you give the reason for the haircut, hence this is more of a style deciding place. I could really see that the skin left behind by the clippers on the doll wasn't really some shaved skin which would be super cute, it was just a thing which felt like skin. This was no place to enjoy haircuts though, as he said the real world will have an exact copy of this haircut, so quickly started cutting so I could enjoy this in the real world. I started shaving the bob fast. I repeated the same motion all around, shaving the sides and the back and leaving only hair on the crown. When just hair was left on the crown, I took the comb, placed it parallel to the doll's scalp and ran my clippers over the comb. I did this for all the crown and then I let go of the hair cutting tools. Now for the reason for the haircut. I wrote, as the summer heat is rising and after watching her daughter get a short haircut, she asks her daughter to cut her hair. Now for testing how much do I really control their will if I only control their haircut thoughts or all thought, I put a check, as after the haircut she praises her daughter for her haircutting skills and tells her to try a career in becoming a hairstylist. That should be good now. And how do we go back to the real world? Say exit and think about the real world. I again complied exit. I quickly rushed back downstairs where my mom would be working on something. A thought came to my mind and I stopped abruptly. Hey Jin, since I am a girl in this world, I won't be owning any clippers in this world, and even if I did, how are they going to cut as sharply as those I had back in the hyper world? Don't worry about what haircut you gave in the hyper world, she will get the exact same. Strand to strand here about the clippers and stuff. Don't worry, just keep on going and you will find out. I trusted the Jin and went downstairs where mom was. I saw mom typing something on the laptop by one hand and moving the other hand through her hair with a really annoyed look on her face. Hey mo, she called me guess she calls me that in short. How cute. Hey mom, I sat on the couch beside her and asked what she was doing. Nothing, just working on a thing. She kept staring at me. Nancy, I must say you did a great thing by cutting your hair so much, and long hair would be really annoying. Just look at me, I am so annoyed. My hair right now, it's like so sweaty off, I hate it. Just as I wrote, the things were progressing smoothly. Now let's see what happens when I give a little push to her. Mom, I think you should also get a haircut, like a little nape shave or something that would really help you out in the heat. Yeah, you are right, I should get it cut. In fact, I want to cut it right now, but I cannot leave my laptop. A really important work needs to be completed right now. Oh, what should I do? I really want to get rid of my hair. Can't take my laptop to the salon and work there, and by the time I am done all the salons would be closed. What should I do? Nancy, come to think of it, your father bought a haircutting kit with clippers and stuff that he said he was going to use to cut his hair at home but didn't really use it. Oh, this is something new. In my previous life my dad didn't own any beard trimmer, let alone hair clippers. So mom, you want me to cut your hair at home? Yes em. Don't worry, I won't blame you if you mess up. I just want you to cut this mess off. Now will you please fetch the clippers? They should be on the bathroom shelf, and also get a small chair and some towels. I cannot stop the work. You have to cut my hair while I am working. I really need to get this work done in 2 hours. I cannot stop. Sure mom. Boy, what is she working on? I wonder. Magic really created the perfect circumstances for the haircut to happen the way I wrote it, huh? I found the clippers and some towels. The clippers were brand new in the box. They also had some comb and scissors. I took only the comb with the smallest bristles. I got a chair from the dining area and took everything to where mom was. I placed the chair and without a word mom came and sat on the chair, all the while working on her laptop. I put a towel around her neck. Mom, how should I cut your hair? Just make it short and do try to not get a lot of hair to fall on the laptop. Just take care of that, she said while being really focused on her work. Yeah mom. So this is it. Mom was sitting in front of me and I had the authority to cut her hair as I wanted, but the catch was I had already decided what haircut she will get and how she will get it. Let's try to not do the haircut that I gave her in the hyper world. What if I kept it longer? Would she rebel? I started the clippers and ran it on her neck to just below her ear, shaved the little portion bare and called it the end of the haircut. As you might have guessed, nothing much was really cut off, but she would have felt cool because of the neck hair gone. Mom, I shaved your nape, now you must be comfy. No Nancy, cut off more. Still not really paying attention to how much hair was cut, she was still focused on her work. The Jin spoke to me. You have to do the exact cut as you did in the hyper world because the scenario has been written. You cannot leave it longer, you cannot cut it shorter as it is. If you forcefully try to keep it longer or cut it shorter than what has already been done in the hyper world, your mind will also be taken under control and you will have to do as you have done there. Okay, so be it. I have to give her the exact cut I did there. I opened my phone and searched for a reference pic to what I did in the hyper world and popped the question, Mom, look at this pic. Do you cut your hair this short? Will it be good? I put my phone in front of her face so that she can see the pic, see the source image. Yes, it's good to do that, Mom replied. Really, Mom? Are you sure? Just do whatever hairstyle you want, you just have to reduce my hair now, please let me work. I really need to finish this, oh God, and my hair feels so annoying, do it fast, Nancy. I started the clippers, and with the same cutting technique as done in the hyper world, I started shaving her back and stopping the clippers just at her crown. This time the lumps of hair did amazingly fall on my foot as I stepped on the hair lump and also touched the bare skin on her head. It really now felt like I was cutting off hair for real this time. As the bare clippers cleared a path, she did not even look up to see what I was doing. She was just so indulged in work. I went berserk with the clippers on her head, and all remains of her once thick bob fell on the floor, and I got an amazing kink stepping on the thick stacks of hair that fell. Clean white skin started to emerge wherever the clippers ran. This was the first time I was seeing my mom's bare scalp. It was amazing, and she just had the perfect shape for a bald head. I was kinda disappointed that I didn't make her bald. By now her left and back side were completely bald, only hair remaining was on her crown and right side. As I started shaving the right, a message notification came on her laptop. As she was reading it, I kept shaving her right side. I suddenly heard a thud. It was the sound of her laptop closing. I stopped the clippers. What happened, Mom? Is your work done? No, they suddenly say that you can take 2 more days to finish it. I don't understand what was there to hurry in the first place. If this message had come 5 minutes earlier, I would have been able to go to a salon. Mom, do you want me to stop? No, finish the haircut. I am half shaved. Anyway, I can't go out of the house like this, and I feel like the haircut you are giving me is going to be super short and interesting. With that, she put the laptop away and sat straight on the chair. Now I had her full attention. I finished whatever was left of her bob on the right side of her head. I feel so cool right now. Why didn't I do this earlier? As Mom was saying this, I made final passes all through her back and sides to get any tiny hairs I might have left. All the back and sides were shaved to 0. Mom reached out to touch the sides of her head. As she touched her shaved and her hands kept exploring how high she had really been shaved, I could see the excitement on her face. This is going to be so short, I can't wait to see it. Well, you gotta wait, Mom. Top has still got long hair. With that, I picked up the comb I had gotten, combed the top a bit to tame the hair, pulled all her hair from the forehead area back, inserted the comb on the front as close to the scalp as possible, and ran the clippers over the comb. Long strands of hair fell on Mom's lap as her eyes followed the falling hair. I wasted no time to again pull the hair back and place the comb a little bit further than where it was earlier, and again ran the clippers over it. I continued this till the hair on top was so short that no hair could pass the comb's bristles when the comb was kept flat against her head. I was done. I had given her an ultra-short flat top. I mean, could you even call this a flat top? This is practically butchering of hair what I had done, but hell, it was satisfying. To cut all that thick hair off. Remove the towel, I want to see the haircut. I did as Mom said. Mom ran towards the mirror, and I knew from the look on her face she fell in love with it. She moved both her hands all around her head, feeling the shaved sides and the short hair on the top. Oh, what a relief that haircut was. You have cut it so well. High school will be over in some months. Why don't you get some training to become a hairstylist? Oh yeah, Mom, I would love to get some training in hairstyling. I have always wanted to have that career. Well, you can try to get a part-time job at a nearby salon, Mom said. Well, I am sure I can land a part-time job there, and it will be fun if I can work with Christina. She is such a hot girl, but really I have to appreciate your magic. Mom really does love this butchered haircut. As I was thinking that, I heard the main door open. Oh, your dad must have returned. Why don't we surprise him with our new haircuts? You go first. Dad? Well, I was never close to him previously. Maybe things will change now that I am a girl. I went and opened the door for him. As I opened the door, he gave me a very weird look. I thought to myself, if he remembered that I was a boy or something, why the hell was he giving me that surprised face? And then he suddenly hugged me. Nancy, you cut your hair. I almost didn't recognize you without your long hair. It looks very cute. Yeah, Dad. Oh, he has never seen the female me with short hair, that's why he was surprised. Well, we have a bonding moment between dad and daughter. That was the voice of Mom. Honey, what have you done to your hair? Dad was so surprised at this point. I could see him struggling to speak. You know, I couldn't bear the heat and had too much work to do, so I asked to cut my hair. I borrowed your clippers, though you don't use them any. As Mom was speaking, Dad held Mom in his arms. He explored her new haircut by rubbing his hands on the shaved area. I love it, dear, Dad said. Well, honestly, this was kind of a surprising thing for me. Dad was never really this close to back when I wasn't a girl. So both you girls got summer cuts. Nancy, you really have done a good job on the haircut. After telling him about how my day was and Mom telling me to go get some study done and that she would clear up the hair on the floor, I left Mom and Dad alone and again came back to my room. It really worked. I can give any person any haircut I want. The potential was unlimited. I could do anything I want. Honestly, there was so much that I could do that I got distracted from what my original goal was, i.e. sweet revenge. Enter the hyper world. I was there just thinking about going there. That was easy. I came up behind the chair and had a clear thought on who my victim was. I could never forget her, and there her doll came up in the chair. She really didn't have better quality hair than me, but it was definitely longer from what I used to have when I had just transformed into a girl. She had almost butt-length hair and I couldn't let her off easily, could I? I didn't even think twice about what haircut I was about to give her. I had it clear in my head. I got clippers in my hand, guardless clippers, removed everything I could. Again, I didn't waste any time and got the foil shaver and rerun them on the head. Now for the reason I wanted to see her get this haircut. I wanted to see her suffer while getting all her hair cut off. I want her to regret. I want her to cry. How about I am such a sadistic person. How are you going to give her the haircut? The Jinn asked. Oh dear Ginny, let it be a surprise. Don't use your magic and see it. Let it be a secret. Enjoy it in first person tomorrow. Okay, so be it. With that, Jinn left the hyper world before me. I also left it soon after I wrote the scenario. Now I just have to wait for school tomorrow. After having dinner, I just laid on my bed and thought about how crazy this day was. This day was a roller coaster of emotions. First, I was sad that my GF left me. Not only left me, but our whole relationship was a lie. Now I am a girl. Then I started fingering myself, thinking about the amazing haircut I got, how amazing the clippers felt on the scalp. I wanted to feel that again. Alarm bell rang. I had slept. It is morning now. The first thing I did was not even to shut my alarm. The first thing I did was check myself in the mirror. I was still a girl. It was not all a dream. Well, but my bob was messed up. At the same time, Mom started shouting, wake up or else you are going to be late. I went to the bathroom and washed my hair. As expected, when I opened my closet after my morning bath, my uniform now was a skirt. I blow dried my hair and now my bob was perfect. I was looking beautiful. I went downstairs. Mom, my breakfast. Oh, it's not yet ready. Well, you are kinda ready early today. I guess shedding all that hair really shaved you a lot of time. Mom, talk about yourself. You won't even have to spend 1 second on your hair. Yeah, that's true. What, don't you two have it cut like me? Oh Mom, don't provoke me. I am already holding myself back. Don't say this kinda stuff out of the blue. I feel like shaving it right now. Control. Control. Control breath. I will consider it, Mom. Here you go. Breakfast. Thanks, Mom. I will be off to school now. Bye. Take care. Oh boy, the stares I got on the way to my school, and man, the questions I have to face. Let's give you a short description of what has changed after the transformation of me into a female. Seems like the girls who used to be my friends when I was a guy are now my besties, and the guys so were my brothers were just now friends. And the most common question I faced was, why did you cut your hair? To which my answer was clear: couldn't take care of it. I wanted a change. Some of the guys had a devastating look on their faces as if they had lost something so precious. So I reached my classroom. There I found one of my besties really impressed with my haircut. Nancy, your hair looks so pretty. Wish I had the courage to do it. Well, now you see, I needed to help this girl a little bit, so I entered my hairstyle changing room right away. Now I was prepared to give her a haircut, but I kinda thought that she must have the haircut in mind. She said she just doesn't have the courage. Ginny, you said that a haircut will happen for a random reason if I don't specify a reason for the haircut. The opposite is also true. Can I just specify a reason for the haircut and the haircut be selected at random? Yes, that will work, replied the Jinn. Okay dear, I will give you a reason for getting a haircut today evening. While at home you will feel so hot that you will go to a salon and get a haircut. Let's see what haircut you get. You are an experiment. With this I came back to the classroom. Some took here and there with my classmates. Well, mostly the topic was my hair, and I was also on the lookout for someone who would like to get a haircut like mine. I didn't go out of my way to give someone a haircut for now. Homeroom started and my teacher was also surprised after seeing my new hairstyle. Nancy, it looks nice on you, she said. I think I also might need a haircut because of the heat. Oh, that was all the initiation I needed. You will get your haircut, ma'am. I then and there went to the hyper world. Now since you are a teacher you will need a professional looking haircut. I will give you a pixie look, really got. I quickly cut her hair into a boyish haircut. It wasn't perfect, but this was my best job till now. I realized the need to learn haircutting. I am going to continue to use this. Anyways, I left the reason blank. We will use you as an experiment too to see the randomness of the reasons for a haircut. Now the day went on, classes kept going and finally break arrived. I was sitting with some of my friends when she came up to me and said, "What happened to your hair? Nancy, did you get cancer of something? Look, you are a half baldy from the back." This girl, she was Lily. She was my girlfriend earlier when I realized that Linda was different from most of the women I had come across in my working life very soon after I met her for the first time. She was married with 2 children in their late teens. Her physical appearance was not striking, late 30s, 5 feet 4 inches tall, medium build, slim, pleasant but not stunning features and straight dark brown hair which came down to her mid-back. She was committed to and passionate about her job to the point where some might say she was obsessive, working any extra hours that were needed, taking ownership of problems and frequently finding herself at loggerheads with colleagues in an attempt to find solutions. The only people safe from her fiery temper were her customers, for whom nothing was too much trouble, even if the problems they confronted her with were of their own making. Being her manager, I was frequently one of her targets, and although I didn't totally approve of her methods and manners, I found that I was relaxed enough about her intentions to turn a blind eye to most of her outbursts. I had always considered my marriage to be okay, and had always kept business relationships separate from my private life, so my reaction to hearing Linda make personally critical comments about me to one of her workmates came as a complete shock. I had been in this job for 6 weeks and for the first time in my career I felt hurt by criticism from a member of my staff. I was confused by this reaction, but it didn't take me long to realize that I was starting to have personal feelings for her. My initial reaction was one of anger, as I considered myself to be a professional person who should not have allowed himself to have fallen into this situation. My only recourse was to speak with Linda and explain the position and ask for her help and cooperation in keeping our relationship on a professional business footing. I patiently waited for an opportunity and confessed what I was feeling. Her reaction was completely unexpected. She too had developed personal feelings towards me and was equally confused. We agreed that we would try to put any personal feeling to one side and continue to work together in a professional manner. As with many good intentions, ours didn't last long, and very soon we regularly were seeing each other outside work. Our relationship developed and became very passionate. Our meetings took place at strange times and in some unusual places. We did our best to be careful not to be caught out and thought we were being successful, until one fateful weekend. Linda said she had always worn her hair long and straight, and this mid-back length was the shortest it had been. It was one length with a parting off-center gray streaks had started to appear, and so she was using a semi-permanent collar to hide them. 2 of the other women at work, both about the same age as Linda and both of who had also worn their hair long and straight, had recently had their hair restyled. They had both had their hair layered and permed into very curly styles, which despite the curls still fell below their shoulders. Both Linda and I thought this style looked extremely sexy and decided that she should take the plunge and have hers done the same. The only problem was money. Bringing up 2 adolescent children was not financially easy, and money was a bit tight. Although it would have been easy for me to pay for her to have it done, it might have aroused her husband's concern about how they could afford it, and so we would have to wait for the right opportunity. In the meantime at home, Linda started to point out celebrities or people on television with the same curly style and say how much she liked it, and ask the family if they thought it would suit her. This approach was proving fruitless until one Saturday morning when Debbie, her 17-year-old daughter, offered to cut and perm her hair at home. Debbie had trimmed Linda's hair before, but as far as Linda was concerned that was the limit of her experience, and she was not at all confident in letting Debbie loose on her hair. Debbie left the house in a huff and said she was going to her friend Jenny's house instead. Around 2 in the afternoon, Linda heard the front door open and heard a call from Debbie to say she was home and had brought Jenny with her. The two girls went straight to the kitchen to make coffee, and when Linda finally joined them, she was surprised to see Jenny's previously straight hair, cut and permed in the exact style she herself wanted. Jenny said that she had been considering a change for a while, and that when Debbie had arrived that morning with the perming kit she had bought to do Linda's hair, the two girls had decided to do it, and this was the result. Linda was impressed with the results of Jenny's restyle and the work that Debbie had done. After looking at Jenny's hair, and once again examining her own hair in the mirror, she declared that she would let Debbie restyle her hair like Jenny's if she was still willing to do it. Debbie did not need a second chance and immediately produced a home perming kit, which she said she had bought on the way back home, knowing that once Linda had seen Jenny's hair that she would want her own done. At this point it is better if Linda tells the story firsthand. Jenny said she would stay and help, and we decided that the kitchen would be the easiest place to work. Debbie shampooed my hair over the sink, and when she had rinsed it thoroughly she wrapped a towel around my head and sat me on a chair that we had placed next to the table. On the table, Jenny had been arranging all the items that Debbie would need: scissors, comb, a bag with very small perming curlers, end papers, a dish with the perming solution and a sponge, neutralizing solution, conditioner, and a hairdryer. Debbie placed a second towel around my shoulders and then gently toweled my wet hair. She combed through my long hair, gently removing any tangles, and finally she said she was ready to start. My heart was pounding, partly with the fear of letting my daughter loose on my hair and partly in anticipation of my new style. Debbie combed and lifted the first lock of hair and I heard the snip of the scissors. There was no way out now. She continued to lift and cut hair all over the top of my head, and it seemed to me that she was cutting my hair much shorter than Jenny's. Debbie and Jenny assured me that it was okay, and Debbie told me not to be paranoid, but I realized afterwards that she was being very careful not to let any of the cut hair fall into my lap where I could see the length she was chopping off. As she moved to the right side I still felt that she was cutting my hair too short, but she pulled a piece that had been cut to length forward so I could see that it was still quite long. Feeling slightly reassured I let her continue. She repeated her actions on the left side, which only left the back to cut. I still had an uneasy feeling that she was cutting my hair too short, but because of the reassurance from the two girls I put it down to the fact that I had no mirror to watch in and therefore could not judge. In order to prove to me that the final length was not short, Debbie pulled down a piece of hair from the bottom of the back and pressed it against my back below my shoulder blades. The cutting was finished and Jenny very quickly cleaned up the cut hair and put it in the waste bin. Debbie was now ready to start perming my hair. She took the first curler, which seemed very small, and after combing through and applying perming solution to a section of hair, wound the hair around it. Now I know my hair is short. Despite everything the girls had said, and despite my convincing myself otherwise, I could tell by how quickly each section of hair was wound onto those very small curlers that my hair was no longer long, and I could only wonder what it would finally look like. I felt trapped by these two teenage girls, totally powerless to stop them doing whatever it was that they were doing. I sat in silence as Debbie continued to put more and more of these tiny curlers into my hair. When the last one was wound in, she applied more perming solution over the curlers, and at last she was finished. I didn't know what to say. I was in shock at the thought of what my hair would look like. Jenny made coffee and while the two girls sat and chatted, I sat drinking my coffee in silence, wanting the whole process to be over. Debbie waited 35 minutes before checking to see if the solution was working, and then satisfied, rinsed the perming solution from my hair before applying the neutralizer. She eventually removed the curlers and applied more neutralizer. Both she and Jenny commented on how well the perm seemed to have taken. Debbie finally washed my hair to get rid of all the perming chemicals. She said she would apply a deep conditioner and leave it for a further 40 minutes. She applied something that I assumed was conditioner, although I did wonder why she was applying it with a brush, and left it as she said for 40 minutes. Once again she rinsed my hair over the sink and finally sat me in the chair to finish my restyle. She toweled my hair to remove most of the water and then turned on the hairdryer. Using her finger to move the hair around, she dried my now short hair. When she was happy that it was dry, she produced a long-toothed afro pick that had been kept out of sight, and combed through the curls. Even though I knew the hair was short, I could feel her combing longer hair at the back, and I could feel longer pieces against my cheek. After a while both girls stood back and looked at each other with triumphant grins on their faces. I started to put my hands up to feel my head, but Debbie grabbed my arms and said that if I wanted to know what it was like I should go and look at myself in the hall mirror. I slowly walked to the hall, part of me desperate to see what havoc my daughter and her friend had wreaked on my hair, another part of me not wanting to see at all. As I slowly moved in front of the mirror, I was shocked to see a stranger looking back at me. She had jet black hair that was cut short and styled in very tight curls that hugged the shape of her head. At each side was one long strand of curly hair that had been left. As the stranger turned her head, I could see that a number of long fine curly strands had also been left at the back of her head. I stood in total shock and silence for what seemed like hours, but was probably only minutes, before the realization came home that the stranger was me. My hair had been cut short and what was supposed to have been conditioner was obviously black hair dye. Tears welled up in my eyes and I could see Debbie in the mirror, looking scornfully behind me. I turned and only one word came out: why. She had found out about David and I having an affair, and had been waiting for weeks for an opportunity to get her revenge, and this was it. Jenny, who had been part of the deception, pulled off a long curly brown wig to reveal her untouched, unaltered, long straight brown hair. What could I do? My mind raced. I couldn't go out looking like this. Debbie knew how I would react, and that I would be desperate. Suddenly her manner changed, and she appeared to be genuinely concerned about the state I was in, and sorry for what she had done. She suggested trying to contact Wendy, an ex-workmate of mine who had decided last year to make a new start and go to hairdressing college, to see if she could help. While I went to sit down, Debbie made the phone call. She had explained to Wendy what had happened, and Wendy had said that she could help with both the curls and the color, and would be round in half an hour. While I waited, I couldn't help but feel the strange tight springy curls and keep looking in the mirror. Wendy finally arrived and was very kind and did not make any unkind comments. She only said that she could get rid of the curls and color, and that she needed to do it quickly as she was going out later. Once again we went to the kitchen where Wendy wet my hair over the sink. She sat me in the chair again, combed through what was left of my hair before applying a pasty substance, which she left on for about 35 minutes. She washed the substance out of my hair and sat me down again. She applied a second strongly smelling substance and left it on for a while before washing this off as well. Wendy then roughly dried my hair and said she was almost finished. I was more relaxed now, and Wendy suggested sitting back and closing my eyes. It sounded like a good idea, and for the first time in several hours I was starting to feel calmer. She combed through my hair once more and then placed something on my forehead. Before I had a chance to react, there was a loud humming sound and hair was starting to fall past my now wide open eyes. Curly white blonde hair was landing in my lap. Wendy held my head firmly and continued to move what I realized were electric clippers across my head. It was pointless struggling, and so I just sat and waited for the outcome. When she had finished, Wendy offered me a mirror from her hold all. Now the woman with the jet black short tight curls had been replaced by a woman with a bleached blonde crop no more than 1/8 of an inch long. Wendy was part of the plot, and in one afternoon I had gone from having long brown hair halfway down my back to being nearly bald with an ultra-short bleached blonde crop. I got a phone call from Linda at about 6:30 Saturday evening. She was very upset and appeared to be confused. She was trying to tell me something about her hair and us and Debbie, and that she had to leave before her husband got home from his football trip. She calmed down enough for me to arrange to meet her. At 8 o'clock I waited on the station platform to meet her train. As people started to get off the train, I looked for Linda, then I saw her with the hood of her coat pulled tightly over her head. She ran into my arms and burst into tears. I took her to a cottage that I rented, where we used to meet, and then and only then did she remove her hood. I was totally taken aback by the sight that confronted me. I was speechless, and just stared at her. This started Linda crying again. I reached out and pulled her towards me and held her. I couldn't help but run my hand over the soft short blonde hair. This was exciting and I told her so. She calmed down enough to tell me what had happened that afternoon. I told her that as soon as we could we would go and buy her a wig, but explained to her that I would love her regardless of her hair, and that in fact I found the whole episode to be a bit of a turn-on. Needless to say, that day was only the start of our life together, and during the following years we had many hair adventures. Kay was getting ready for bed. She'd given her long sunny blonde hair 100 strokes with the hairbrush, done the stretching exercises to limber up her taut young body, brushed her perfect teeth, the normal bedtime routine. She just slipped into her form-fitting black teddy when there was an angry knock on the door. Cautiously Kay made her way to the foyer and looked through the door's peephole. It was Amy, her rival? What was she doing here at this hour? Kay opened the door. And just what do you want? Make it fast, I'm just about to hit the sack. Alone? Why, Kay. That's rather unusual for you, isn't it? Amy taunted. She stood in the entryway with her hand on her hip. The hall light shone on her ebony hair, which spilled down almost to the middle of her back. Her full lips parted in a cruel smile. At least, that's what I hear. Cut the crap, Amy, Kay snapped. It's late and I have to work tomorrow. What do you want? Just this. We both want the same. Man, let's stop kidding ourselves. Only one of us can have Roger. I propose we settle the matter with an unfriendly game of cards. And just how is a card game going to decide which one of us gets Roger? Easy, Amy said. We'll wager our looks. What do you mean? That's ridiculous. Is it? Would Roger want me or you if we weren't as beautiful as we are? The loser won't be able to compete. For Roger. Come on. Let's settle this. Kay tensed at the insult, and she could feel her temper rise. All right. You're on. Get in here and we'll settle this. Kay stepped aside to allow Amy to enter. As Amy strode into the light, Kay could see that she was carrying what appeared to be a medical bag. Amy dropped the heavy bag on Kay's dining room table. It landed with a crash. They both sat and Amy drew the cards out of the bag and began to shuffle. Kay got herself a bottle of wine and one glass. I'd offer you some wine, but I don't want to, she said to Amy hostilely. Fine, Amy replied. I didn't come here for that. The first hand was dealt. Kay had 2 queens and garbage. Give me 3, she demanded, and got no help. Amy took 2. I'll start betting, Amy proclaimed. I wager 1 lock of hair. What? Kay cried. Amy sighed dramatically. Look, it's easy, dimwit. If I lose the hand, you get to cut off a lock of my hair. And vice versa. We said we were wagering our looks. Chickening out. Kay squared her shoulders. No way. I'm in, she said, and I raise you a lock of hair. Kay wondered how big a lock was, and how safe her hair was, guarded by only a pair of queens. She shivered at the thought of her hated rival poised above her golden mane with scissors. I see your 2 locks and raise you an eyebrow, Amy stated. Oh, God. Kay thought. My eyebrows. See call, she said nervously. 2 queens. Beat that. Amy smiled. Her cat ate the canary smile. 3 twos. Time to pay up. With that she opened the medical bag and pulled out a pair of scissors. And electric shears. She stood and approached Kay. Wait a minute, Kay stammered. I didn't Kman, loser, time to pay up. If you'd won you would have been at my hair in a second. Now shut up. Kay bit her lower lip and tears streamed down her face as Amy gathered a lock of hair, about the circumference of a quarter, and chopped it off very close to Kay's skull. Only about a quarter inch of bristle remained. She then moved to the other side of Kay's head and sheared off another hank of hair. Then taking the electric razor she carefully and thoroughly removed Kay's left eyebrow. Oh shit. Kay thought miserably, maybe I can draw in a new eyebrow so no one will notice, and maybe a new hairstyle will hide the missing. It's not too bad yet. I can still win. Amy sat down with a thud. She carefully wrapped a rubber band around the locks of hair. So soft, she raised it to her nose. And so sweet-smelling, too. She laughed cruelly. Your deal, she chirped at Kay. Kay gathered the cards, shuffled, and dealt. She had nothing. Despair filled her as she kept her high card, an ace, and dealt herself 4 new cards. She was thrilled to find that 2 of them were aces. Let's see if she beat that, Kay thought with savage triumph. I bet 2 locks, she proclaimed. I see that, and raise you 2 teeth, Amy stated coolly. Oh, God, Kay thought. My teeth. Amy, maybe we're going too far here. Looks are one thing, but you have a beautiful smile, Kay. Beauty is what's at stake here. Now either bet, or concede. But if you concede you forfeit, and I get to alter you. However I see fit. Alter me. Kay gasped. A bet is a bet, god damn it. Now fold or bet. Stop wimping out. Amy roared. Kay felt nauseous, but was pretty sure her aces would win out. See call, she said. 3 aces. Full house, Amy stated in triumph. Oh God, Kay said. Please no, don't, as Amy rose dramatically and approached her with the bag. Amy's eyes held Kay in place. It was almost as if Kay were a bird, and Amy the snake creeping up on her. Kay sat motionless, her eyes wet with tears, as Amy sheared off 2 more locks of Kay's hair, which was beginning to look patchy. She then drew an aerosol can from the bag and with her other hand spread apart Kay's lush lips, exposing her immaculate white teeth. Don't worry, Kel, this won't hurt a bit. She sprayed the aerosol onto Kay's gum line. Instantly Kay felt her mouth go numb. Amy tunked Kay's gum with a finger. Kay felt nothing, didn't even flinch. That's when Amy drew the pliers from the bag and tightened them on one of Kay's front teeth. Kay could feel the tugging, but she felt no pain as Amy yanked out her tooth and laid it on the table. Another tug, and 2 of Kay's front teeth were gone. God. Kel, you look hideous, Amy taunted. Kay ran her tongue into the wide gap in her smile and began sobbing, her beautiful smile gone forever. She looked at Amy with a murderous hatred. Deal the cards, she said with her mutilated mouth. You can't win every hand. Kay was thrilled when she was dealt a royal flush. It's payback time, she thrilled, careful to keep her elation from showing on her face. I bet 2 locks, she announced. I call, Amy said with a strange smile on her face. Huh? Royal flush? Can you beat that? No, said Amy, I can't. Great, exulted Kay as she stood and approached Amy. Where are you going, Kel? Amy asked sweetly. I'm going to chop into that black hair of yours, Kay snarled. Hold on. I lost 2 locks. She reached down onto the table and grasped Kay's recently shorn hair. 1 and 2. She handed Kay 2 locks of Kay's own long blonde mane. I choose to pay from my winnings. But, Kay was flabbergasted. I lost 2 locks. I handed you 2 locks, Amy stated coolly. We're even. Your deal. Kay stared at her in frustration, which soon gave way to despair. She sat back down, stunned. They wagered nothing but hair for a while, and Kay lost hand after hand. She hit the wine quite hard, and was now more than a little drunk. On those rare winning hands she held, she received in payment nothing but her own shorn locks. She lost her other eyebrow, which Amy shaved off with unconcealed glee, remarking out loud how Kay's face looked without them. Kay brokenly felt her face where her eyebrows had been, and her eyes filled with tears as she realized how freakish she must look. Her losing streak continued until the last lock of hair was chopped from her head. An 1/8-inch stubble was all that was left. Amy said, well, you have no more head hair, but I want that stubble. I'll bet you both my eyebrows against a head shaving. Okay. The thought of rendering Amy browless filled Kay with vengeance. Deal, she commanded. She had a pair of kings, and on the re-deal got another pair, this time of 10s. She decided to up the ante. I bet my stubble against your eyebrows, and I raise you 30 teeth. Whoa, Kay, whatever have you got in your hand, young missy? Such an audacious bid. Well, let's see. I can't be timid now. I see your bet, and raise you my bush. My bush. Kay thought of her downy fur and how soft and luxurious it was. She'd sure hate losing it, but her hand was very strong, so she decided to go for it. See call, she almost whispered. 2 pairs, kings and 10s. Very good, Kel, very good. But not good enough, Amy gloated, revealing her hand 4 2s. This is going to take a while, she said as she stood to collect her winnings. Kay started to cry as she thought of the ordeal to come. Amy went into Kay's bathroom and returned with 3 steaming hot washcloths which she slapped on Kay's head. Kay cried out in discomfort as the heat loosened her stubble. Amy reached back into that damnable medical bag and retrieved a can of shaving cream and a straight razor and began lathering up Kay's head. Tears rolled down the former blonde